Hi, everyone, and welcome to Home Tech. This is Seth Johnson. I am joined, as always, by Jason Griffin. Jason, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Seth. How are you?
I'm doing fine. I'm happy that we're here for the last episode of Home Tech.
Yeah, it's a big one. You're kind of
shutting it down.
Yeah, in all seriousness, we wanted to take an opportunity here to come on the air and just let everybody know that I've actually accepted a new position in the industry, and after 3 years of doing this, have decided that it's been a good run, Seth. I've had a lot of fun working with you, but it's one of those things where you move on, and hopefully we can come back and do the show again someday. But we're going to step back here and wind it down.
Yeah, this is a good way to go out. You got to cut the cruft, stop doing what you don't love, and go to work doing what you love. Sorry, I can't keep a straight face. So this will be airing near April Fool's, so this is our April Fool's joke. Sorry, everybody.
Chat room, Greg in the chat room. It's okay. I didn't quit another show, just one.
That's awesome. Oh, that is great. What a burn.
That is funny. In all seriousness, though, I did want to announce, and this is actually not a joke. I am excited to announce we clued in our good friends over at the Hub earlier this week, and wanted to let other listeners of our show know that I am taking on a position with One Vision Resources. And integrators who listen to the show, home technology professionals, will probably be familiar with One Vision. We've had Joey on the show a couple of times in the years that we've been doing it, and I'm really excited to jump on board with them. Big believer in the mission, and we'll include a link to that company up in the show notes if anybody's curious and doesn't really know about the One Vision model. I won't get too in depth with it here, but was just excited to announce it. I'll be going on board with them first week of April, and it's a great opportunity. So I look forward to getting started.
Well, congratulations, man.
Thank you.
That sounds awesome. You don't have to move to Boston to work on your Boston accent.
No, it's a remote
driving a car to the bar.
Work from home position, and Seth, I was gonna try to reel people in a little bit with our April Fool's joke there, and talk about the position, and you just kind of came right out with it, didn't you?
I'm sorry, I can't. I'm not very good with secrets. I'm not good with secrets at all. So.
Well, speaking of secrets, we did get a tip on a big story coming from Alex Capisulatro over at Josh AI. And normally, Seth, we record the show on Wednesdays. Well, we still do, and it doesn't air until Fridays. But as you know, and listeners to our show know, we now do a live episode, so you can tune in on Wednesday evenings if you want to hear us record the show live. We typically do that around 8:30 p.m. And so in light of that fact, we don't want to tip our hand too much, but Josh AI's got a pretty big announcement coming this Friday. So be sure, if you haven't given them a follow on Twitter, go check them out and stay tuned for Friday. It's going to be big.
Yep. Now check the show notes. We'll put something there to link to what they're doing. So yeah, I can't wait.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. We don't want to give away too much, but you'll definitely want to go check that out.
Cool, man. Well, hey, this week we also had under the non-joking section of our show.
You're gonna have to preface everything we say now with "This is not a joke. This is for real."
Yeah. we had two new patrons come on. Actually, one's an older patron that has been part of the Slack channel for quite a while. TJ Huddleston over there upped his pledge to $5 a month. So just wanted to give a shout out to TJ and say thank you very much. And then we had a new patron come on, Dan Byers, at the $5 level. Wanted to give a shout out to him too and say thank you very much for supporting the show.
Yep, we really, really appreciate that, guys, and would encourage anybody else listening, if you're a fan of the podcast and you get some entertainment value out of it, which we hope you do. That's a great way to support our efforts here. You can learn more about that over at HomeTech.fm/support. Once again, that's HomeTech.fm/support. And that's where you can learn about our Patreon page, which is where you can support our efforts here at the Home Tech Podcast for as little as $1 a month.
Also, not a joke.
Well, let's jump in here, Seth. We got a lot of ground to cover. It's just you and me again this week, and busy week in smart home news. We've got a number of stories here. IKEA is getting into some smart home stuff. We got some stories from Google Home we're going to talk about. Samsung is making some moves in the Wi-Fi space, and we've got a few stories about your favorite and mine, pay TV providers. So it should be a fun episode. But let's get started here with our first story that we wanted to dive into, and that is IKEA, a relatively surprising entrant into, I guess, what you could call the smart home space. That's certainly what the tech press headlines are calling it, although in fairness, it's a pretty limited offering. It's really a smart lighting system. I would say comparable in a lot of ways to like a Philips Hue, with the main exception being that right now, at least out of the gate, it's really just white spectrum. So it's not like colored lights, but same sort of idea, smart light bulbs. But interesting to see IKEA getting into the smart home.
Right. This is called the Trod free, I guess is how it's pronounced. It translates to mean wire free. If this is kind of like the first time I realized that maybe all those strange words that IKEA's products are actually translate to something, but I thought they were just made up gibberish.
Imagine that.
This whole time. Yeah. So the Trod free is a $79. Well, it's a similar kit to the Hue, which is $129, and this is going to run at $79. So it's a full $50 cheaper. And it like you said, it has the lighting system. It has a battery powered dimmer switch, which I think is pretty cool. There's your tactile control.
Give me the sound effect.
Yeah, we're back.
There it is.
There we go. I got them out today. But yeah, this looks pretty cool. It's interesting that we heard a while back that they would be getting into something to do with the smart home, and they have had in their store, like for a long time, those like a pretty good selection of LED, like under counter lighting and that kind of thing.
That's true.
I've been seeing them do more and more with fixtures. So this kind of is a pretty good spot for them to start off. They must already have all those relationships with the manufacturers making the fixtures and light bulbs. Yep. This must be the next logical step for them.
Yeah. And like, I said at the outset, it seemed like a surprising entrant, but when you dive into it, like you said, it I think makes a ton of sense from a lot of different angles. IKEA's business model is really well situated to have people coming in and looking at furniture. And if they've got this compelling lighting control product that's priced very, very low for what it is, it could be a nice little add-on sale. And who knows, maybe they'll expand the line out and start to do more with it over time. But there was a good article we'll link to in the show notes at HomeTech.fm/155, and it was over in the Verge. And the title of the article is IKEA is poised to do for the smart home what it did for design. And I'm not going to get into the article too in depth here. Would encourage people to go read that if they haven't caught that article already. I just thought it was an insightful look at some of the parallels between what IKEA has done in the world of design and really taken design and made it more approachable. And say what you will about IKEA and the durability, I guess, and overall maybe quality, I suppose, of the products, but they've done some really amazing things in terms of bringing that design within reach for huge numbers of people that just would not have had access to that. And that's kind of the thesis of the article, is that they are given, I guess, economies of scale and what they've got going on. They could be in a good position to actually do similar things for at least parts of the smart home, lighting being just one example.
Right. Yeah. And I'm looking at the gateway online. It's a $29.99 gateway. One thing I noticed that it doesn't have, or at least it doesn't mention, is that there's any integration with other platforms. Like, there's no API, there's no IFTTT integration.
I still don't know how to say that.
Count my T's. Yeah. So it's really, I wonder if this is just going to be kind of a one-off thing where you're using a little small IKEA branded app for it. And you know what? I actually joked about this earlier, but there's a manual right here. So I'm going to download the manual and see how to set up a smart home with all pictures.
That's good.
This is great.
Yeah, that should be funny. Here, one of the other things, Seth, that I thought was kind of cool, and this got my attention. The little dimmer. I think you mentioned it maybe briefly, but there's a video that alludes to what this thing, I guess, can do. It's not described very well, but it's kind of a little circular device that it shows somebody holding in their hand, and you sort of spin it one way or the other, and it presumably using some sort of accelerometer or something inside of the device will will dim the lights. And I thought that was pretty neat. You know me and my physical devices.
Here we go, tactile. I'm not going to hit this button again. You only get one button per show, Jason.
Oh, that's it? Oh, man. I got another one coming up here, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do.
I just found a picture, my favorite picture from IKEA. I'm pasting it over in the, it'll go in the Slack channel. I don't know if it'll go to the IRC channel, but it's the IKEA directions, like how to set this thing up and install it.
That's good. That is good.
It's literally all pictures. This entire trod-free. I'm not going to be able to say this. Trod-free hub installation is all pictures. I'm amazed. I'm really amazed.
I'm not surprised. That's how the IKEA model works.
Yes, pictures of frustration aren't shown. Yeah. So
they keep those out.
Right. Wow. Well, speaking of retail, there was a little bit of story, and we don't want to dive too deep into this, but Vivint was going to be jumping into into some Best Buy stores. They're doing like a trial run in a few of the Best Buy stores, having a big like display set out up front. You can buy an entire smart home from Best Buy now through Vivint. I think that's pretty cool. That's a huge integrator doing something very interesting with big retail.
Yeah. And Vivint has a really interesting business model. We had a gentleman on from Vivint. His name's escaping me right this second. I apologize, but a number of months back, and to me, it was really cool to learn about what they're doing. I guess I always, I had never just really taken the time to dive in and process their business model and really understand the depths to which they were going to kind of make the smart home more approachable, I would say. And this is I think the big angle to this story is not necessarily that they're in Best Buy, but one of the other things that's a little more nuanced, and we won't dive into too deeply here, but is that they're really part of what they're doing in Best Buy represents a different pricing approach. And so it's not so debt heavy for the company. They're, I think, charging a little bit more for the equipment and installation than they have in the past, where they were basically almost giving that stuff away and subsidizing it. And there was a very long break-even point for them in that model. And so they've adopted a new model where charging a little bit more for the gear and a lower monthly cost. And so I think for anyone out there who's interested in security in any sense, it's always good to study what these big companies are doing and trying to figure out. So to me, that was probably the biggest, most interesting aspect of the story.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's best of luck to them. I think it's an interesting offering to be going and having, a space. I can't imagine having a space like ADT or some larger integrator. I guess Magnolia would be the biggest one in there, and some Best Buys. But this is really interesting. I hope they do well, because from everyone that I've heard that signs up or uses Vivint product, I think Mike Wolf is just absolutely in love with them. So I have an uncle on my wife's side that uses it as well, and they love it. So it's a good product, and they've done a good job of building smart home packages into security system. So
right,
and building it out that way. This is great. It gets easy smart home in front of more people. Yep.
Well, speaking of retail, Anthony Rayner just jumped into the chat room. Anthony's been a long time listener of the show, and Anthony, it's good to have you. He mentioned just completing a survey about his Lowe's Iris system, and man, that's a system I haven't heard a whole lot about recently. I know they were kind of in that big run up of a bunch of hubs coming to the market back when, right around the time when we really had just started the show, and it was like hub crazy in the smart home. It seems like a new hub every week. And
I had a bell.
You did. Yeah. That was the birth of the hub sound effect. It was just, we had to do something to keep up. But I'd be curious, Anthony, to hear more about how that system's working out. Maybe over on Twitter, shoot us a note, because I haven't heard a whole lot about Lowe's Iris. I know they're still plugging away with it, but I'm not sure how that platform is doing right now.
Yeah, that's one of the platforms I was looking at for like a basic home security system. I think they've been rolling out in certain areas, they're rolling out monitored home security. So I was kind of interested in that and see how that worked, but I don't think it's made it to Florida just yet. So we'll be interested to hear what the review is over there on either on Twitter, or just shoot us an email or something, Anthony. Let us know.
Yeah. definitely. Well, Seth, I alluded to it. Yep, I gotta get to it. It's I alluded to it a little bit earlier, and a new tactile control product. I think this thing is pretty early on. It's called the Fetch It Go remote, and that's one word. We'll include a link again in the show notes, HomeTech.fm/155. I thought this was kind of a unique looking product. It's I will say not the prettiest looking smart home product that I've ever seen, but it's a small little maybe 6-inch by 4-inch type of device you put on the wall, and it's got a bunch of physical buttons on it, and you can actually just it almost looks like just label them with like a dry erase marker, which doesn't make it sound too glamorous. But the idea is that it's a simple device for the whole family to use, or even guests or housekeepers or something, and you can tie these physical buttons to if this then that recipes. So it's 16 button remote panel. Comes with a gateway device, Ethernet cable. Yep, and there it is, a dry erase marker. So it is dry erase, which I think is kind of funny, unexpected, but I think just another representation of products that are coming to market to, I think, address a growing level of app fatigue in the smart home, and people are really, I think, thirsting for ways to control their home technology without necessarily having to fumble for a phone or an iPad.
Right. I mean, this is actually interesting. A little interesting concept. I know that I think it's on Kickstarter, right? So that we may never see this, but
Right.
it is an interesting idea, and it's very simple, and they do get around the whole labeling custom buttons problem with a very mundane. I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. Like, you just have 16 buttons. You press one, you do this little swipe gesture across the bottom, and it does what you wanted to do. Whatever you have it programmed in on if it'll go ahead and do. I like this. This is something pretty cool. So good find.
And here's the thing. It's like, you're right. I mean, the dry erase marker is pretty mundane, but when I look at pictures and the little videos they have of this thing up on the Digital Trends article that I'm looking at right now, the thing that struck me is it looks like a product that I could actually see in like the everyday home. And I include my own when I say that. Like, it looks like a very common device, useful type of thing, where a lot of times I feel like you look at these smart home products and they're just so, exotic looking or overly designed. And you just don't necessarily get the sense that they've really given maybe as much thought to just like the common day-to-day use cases of families with children, or maybe housekeepers coming and going, and all that sort of thing. And so to me, this looks like the kind of product that I could actually see being used in the everyday home.
Yep. I could see this easily being used in the everyday home. This is a very, let's just say it's a very simple system. Easy to understand, easy to grasp, and easy for anyone in the house to use, no matter the age. I think could be a home run for them. It looks like they have beat their goal, or whatever that means, on Kickstarter. We've seen many companies do that in the past, and not really bring a product to market. So hopefully these guys do show up.
Doesn't necessarily mean anything, but. And yes, to Greg in the chat room, my understanding is the marker is included. What a deal.
It's a steal.
Maybe that's where they get you. Maybe it's only compatible with their dry erase markers.
Right. It's like it's the Razor model of whiteboards.
Anyways, let's move on here. We've got number of stories about Google Home this week, and the biggest one is they came out with a number of new smart home integrations, and some of the bigger ones that most our listeners will surely have heard of. August smart locks, Wink, Lifix, smart light bulbs, Rachio irrigation system. There was a bunch more. I'm going to pull up the story here and we can read the whole list, but really looks like the team has been busy there over at Google Home, and we've talked about it a number of times. I think they've got a little bit of catch up to do with Amazon in terms of the number of integrations that that platform, the A word that I have vouched not to say on air anymore, has a lot of integrations, and Google Home playing a little bit of catch up here. So good to see.
Yeah, absolutely. And, this will be the second time I mention them tonight, but Vivint is actually one of the partners they teamed up with. So that's pretty cool. I think it is catch up, but we knew that everyone is kind of catching up with Amazon at this point. They were so far ahead with what they did because they just kind of put a product out there and it got a little popular and got a little more popular, and people started, pushing it out a little bit more, or telling their friends about it or showing it off at parties, and it just caught fire. And I think they have first to market for this particular product, but I don't think that Google and Apple. I mean, we've been saying Siri in a can is going to come to light eventually, but
you sticking to your guns.
I think it has to at this point. Yeah, it does. It's got to show up. So and when it does, I wonder how long it's going to take for them to get these integrations with these particular companies. I mean, there's already apps in the App Store for every one of these things that are listed here.
Right.
Do those apps get translated over to the Siri in a can device? Who knows?
Yeah.
How long is it going to take them to catch up?
You do wonder. Yeah. It's we've been talking about it for quite a while, and we're not the only ones, obviously, speculating about what Apple's going to do in this sort of form factor. I have to imagine that just given the continued momentum that it just does not seem to be slowing down, the market demand for this sort of device and the way that app developers have flocked to it, and device makers as well have come up with some really interesting ways to utilize it. So I have to imagine, I'm with you, Seth. I got a picture that Apple at some point is going to have to come to market, and in a way, I'm surprised they haven't, just because with the acquisition of Beats years and years ago, they've got a lot of I would say intellectual property there that could, I think, easily be tailored into this sort of a form factor. But on the other hand, I'm not all that surprised, because that's been Apple's MO with a ton of different product categories. The iPad, they were not the first company to come out with a tablet. They just sort of sat back and let other companies do their thing, and then came to market with what they felt like was the best product. So I think that it's only a matter of time. I agree with you, but it'll remain to be seen how long it'll take them to sort of catch up with these other companies that seem to be pulling further and further ahead.
Yep, they're a big company. They seem to not be doing anything with their computer brands. They're doing a whole lot on the mobile side. They have, like you said, they weren't the first to introduce a tablet PC. They weren't the first to introduce a smartphone. They weren't the first to introduce a smartwatch. But they definitely have product leaders in each one of those categories by a well-established margin at this point. It's not even funny how well they're selling.
Right.
So I'll be interested to see what happens when they do eventually come out with whatever they're going to brand Siri in a can to be.
Right.
It's definitely not going to be Siri in a can.
No, I doubt that. Let's move on here. Oh, one more thing about Google Home I wanted to mention, because I know we've got a number of people who listen to the show over in the UK, and they've probably at this point caught wind of this, but in case not, it does look like Google Home is set to hit the UK market next month. So that is welcome news for smart home fans over in the UK, that they'll have the opportunity to pick up a Google Home here. It looks like starting in April.
Very cool. Very cool. I'm sure they'll be happy about it. Let's take a look at this new Wi-Fi router that Samsung has come out with. Samsung? Yeah. This is the Catch Fire company?
Yeah. I'm told that these don't catch on fire, but one never knows.
Well, blazingly fast internet speeds can be all yours. I don't write this. They're just going to have to run with it. Let's see. This is a interesting smart home hub router thing that they've come out with that works with Zigbee, Z-Wave, and also has Bluetooth 4.1. Interesting.
Yeah.
And it has the Smart Things hub built into it, which is super, super smart.
That is the probably the most compelling part of the story, I think. The Wi-Fi mesh category has gotten pretty crowded pretty quickly. You've got Eero, Google Wi-Fi, Plume, Portal. There's a number of others, Ubiquity Amplify. So there's a lot of these products that have come to market just within the last year or two. So it's quickly become a pretty crowded category. Almond is another one. We've had them on the show and Pretty cool looking product. So I think that to stand out in this category, you've got to be doing some things that are a little bit more unique maybe than just Wi-Fi. And I think that's definitely something that Samsung will have going for it with this particular offering, is because not only are you getting a Wi-Fi system, but it doubles as a SmartThings hub.
Yep, it looks like they're going to continue the tradition of having a confusing product based on a Pro version and a standard version, one with 2x2 MU MIMO. Who knows what that means? I really don't care. It gives you 866 megabits per second as opposed to 1.7 gigabits per second for the Pro. And no word or pricing available at this time. So when is this going to show up? We don't know. Hopefully it'll be soon. I don't know. Having the SmartThings hub in it kind of makes up for all of the other issues. I mean, this could be like maybe a $300 router that has a smart home hub built into it. I think that's a pretty good idea.
Yeah. It's a very it's a compelling offering, and if you're in the market for a Wi-Fi solution, and it just so happens that you can also get a smart home hub out of the deal, then that's a win-win. So I think that
connect right to your fridge.
Yeah.
So done.
There you go, and you can tell you if you're out of milk. Right. That's the proverbial
right. Smart milk.
Another story in this category, Netgear has their Orbi line of products, which is yet another entrant in this category that's fairly new. They're doing some things I understand a little bit differently. I don't get the total technical side of the explanation and why it's different, but they are at their core the same sort of product offering that all these other ones are. Consumer-focused, inexpensive way to boost Wi-Fi in your home, and it looks like they have expanded their line out. They've got some additional new boxes, basically new devices on their category. And Seth, you found a great graphic that maybe we can tweet out or share with our listeners that sort of describes what they're doing that may be a little bit different than I guess all of these other mesh systems. But like I said, at the end of the day, what consumers really care about is, does it improve Wi-Fi in my home, and how much does it cost? And they're very competitive with these other solutions.
Yep. Yeah. This is again, they're just getting more confusing with what they're doing with RBK 30, 40, and 50, and they just do 3,500 up to 3,500 square foot for the 30. For the 40, it's 4,000 square foot, and for the 50, it's up to 5,000 square foot. Go to 5,001 square foot, we can't help you. But
or it lights on fire.
Yeah,
no, wait, that's the Samsung.
Yeah, at least this doesn't catch on fire. But yeah, I don't know. This is kind of one of the more confusing ways I think that companies have been marketing these mesh. Well, this wasn't claimed to be mesh, but it's kind of a mesh type router where they have two different versions or three different versions or four different versions, and they rely on the consumer to kind of pick out which one's best for their house based on the square footage. And as you and I know, square footage versus Wi-Fi doesn't matter at all, depending on like the layout out of the house, what the materials your house is based on. I mean, Wi-Fi can just go all over the place. So will be interesting to see what this one looks like and what the Samsung SmartThings router looks like too when they come out.
And let's see, Anthony in the chat room again here is mentioning the Linksys, the Velociraptor. I don't know. That's got to not be a real thing.
The angry spider? Is that
the angry spider? Yes, those I know about.
Yeah, I am not a fan of those particular designs.
There's a bunch of them out there.
Yeah.
Asus has one. They just look like a spaceship out of a bad sci-fi movie.
Right. I think some bad sci-fi movies have actually used them for spaceships. Oh man. All right.
That is funny.
You want to move on to talking about how much people love the cable companies?
Yeah, let's. You know what? Here, before we move on to that, I got to point this out. He is. I just looked this up. It actually is a real thing. The Linksys VLOP, VELOP, whole home Wi-Fi. I did not realize Linksys had a whole home Wi-Fi system named after a dinosaur.
Oh, they're like little pillars. Doesn't look like a velociraptor
At least they
at
don't.
all.
Yeah, doesn't look like a spider either.
No.
That's a little disappointing, but
It's like a salt can
thank you.
or something.
Thank you for pointing that out, Anthony. It just goes to prove my point. There's been so many entrants in this category that it's getting hard to keep track now.
Yeah, absolutely.
So sorry, Seth, didn't mean to cut you off there, but yeah, let's jump in. We got a number of stories here. We're going to close out the show with talking about cable providers, the future of TV, 4K streaming, all of that. It's becoming a recurring topic on the show. We've hit on it a number of times recently. Very, very big trend in home technology right now in general. And one of these stories here we wanted to hit on, Comcast is reportedly planning a streaming TV service. So, this is kind of somewhat unexpected, I would say, just in the sense that we've heard about DirecTV and Dish sort of getting into it, but Comcast has seemed to, in my mind, has always been sort of a stalwart of the traditional, heavy-handed cable provider business model. And so it's kind of a little bit surprising, I guess, to see them getting into it. But again, not in the sense that really all of these companies are responding to trends in the market. And I think more and more consumers are looking for alternatives when it comes to how they consume TV.
Yeah, well, I mean, in the past, I probably would have agreed with you on the Comcast. And I guess I'm not going to disagree with you. I'm going to say you were absolutely right that they are stuck in their ways of being the old crummy cable company that no one likes. But their technology division, whoever's running the CTO office, has been very progressive in what they've been doing recently. I mean, I remember going to CEDIA a couple of years back. They had a booth there and they said, look, we want to work with you guys, not against you guys. We want to help you out. We want to get devices that have discrete codes in for you. We want to get RS-232 rack mount cable boxes. I remember I had pictures of those. I haven't seen them yet, but supposedly, they may exist one day.
Right.
But having a streaming service is kind of, what we've been talking about being the next step in the evolution of what cable is going to look like. We say cable, and it's cable company literally comes from the cable that comes into the house, and that doesn't need to exist anymore, either for internet or for video. So this totally makes sense for them to be kind of pushing this. It's kind of funny that they're kind of taking on like cord cutters. This is kind of like a package that a cord cutter may be looking for, specifically right, to avoid paying and dealing with Comcast. Yeah. Maybe, but it's not a bad deal if you need some of these channels for $40 a month and probably another $50 or $60 in taxes. You can get this. So that'd be pretty cool.
Right. And, in fairness,
that's my joke about taxes.
Yeah.
Cable bills. Geez.
Yeah, no, I missed. Yeah, totally missed that. But you're right. It's like they get you with all of that. Yeah, it looks like, they did have, I had forgotten about this, honestly, but as you were talking, I was looking at this a little closer. And back in, let's see, when was this? July of 2015, there was a story about Comcast launching a streaming service called, not so creatively, Stream, that allowed Xfinity customers $15 a month on top of their internet bill to watch shows from around a dozen networks, yada, yada. This was a limited rollout, it looks like, at the time, at least in Boston, Chicago, and Seattle by the end of 2015. And so, gosh, I got to be honest, I'm not really sure how that service ever did. I never heard a whole lot about it, but apparently they have been making some efforts in this space for a little bit of time. But like you said, this is a $40 a month plan. You got a lot of the usual suspects, I would say, that you're seeing in a number of these streaming offerings that are coming to market: ABC, NBC, ESPN, things like that. So yeah, I'm not sure. I think it would be a really cool thing to do. It's something that's been in the back of my mind for a while, but it's just really a bandwidth issue for me, pardon the pun, is to do like a comparison of all of these services. So you've now got Xfinity Instant TV, which is what they're calling this one. You've got Sling TV, PlayStation Vue, DirecTV Now. So there's more and more of these offerings coming to market, and it'd be interesting to see how they all stack up. I'm assuming there may be some resource out there like that. It would be kind of cool to take a look at. Yeah,
I can't say that I've looked into it very, very much. All these things were kind of coming online, or just starting up, or just quite frankly weren't that great of deals for the TV that we wanted to watch. So when we cut the cord, I guess it was earlier this year or end of last year. Really, I haven't missed anything. What's funny is my brother came in and visited around January time, and while he was here, he signed into HBO Now. It turns out it's still signed in. I've had HBO for 3 months, and not
Lucky
even known.
you.
Yeah, I sent a picture. I was like, best brother ever, and he's like, oh yeah, I do what I can. I'm like, this is great, HBO for free, and I didn't even know. So I'm gonna have to catch up on some shows now.
Oh man, you may have to bleep that part out, Seth. Somebody might be listening.
No, I told him. He knows.
No, but yeah, it's kind of cool. But to your point, it's still sort of packaged. Could be, up to $40 a month is what this story is saying. And I'm not sure for the really pure sort of cord cutters out there, if $40 a month is all that compelling. I guess really depends on what you're currently paying. And, like you said, what do all the taxes and sort of hidden fees come out to at the bottom line?
Right, exactly. I mean, that's the thing with the cable bill. Like they would give you this, I bet if you dug into this, it's $40 a month for the basic service for like 2 years, like an introductory rate, and then all of a sudden in 2 years it'll go up. That's what they do, and man, customers just do not like those kind of practices, and that's why people are leaving. I mean, there's a story that we have here that ISPs, TV service providers, and ISPs earn the lowest customer experience ratings out of all customers, and that's crazy.
Yeah, this was a story that I shared actually on LinkedIn this week. I thought it was interesting. There's Temkin experience ratings. I have to be honest, I'm not super familiar with what these are about. This is off a site experiencematters.blog. Anyways, I've been seeing some of these stories pop up, and this one was about these experience ratings, Seth. They survey 331 companies across 20 different industry groups. They rank all of those companies, of course, relative to one another within your different group there. But then they also compare how these 20 groups stack up overall. And you've got TV and internet service providers literally bringing up dead last in that pack of 20 different businesses, which include, other things like wireless carriers, TV and appliance makers. There's a bunch of them here. So they brought up the rear, and interestingly, Comcast and looks like Time Warner Cable are the two at the very bottom of the very bottom section of the list. So there you go.
Yep. Well, I mean, and there's another story that just came out in Broadband TV News the other day. It's a kind of a deep dive on the numbers from 2015. And it says in total, I was just reading this and I scrolled and missed it, but in total, companies lost about 345,000 video subscribers in 2015, compared to 1.2 million in 2014. So they're doing a little bit better, but they're still losing large amounts of customers and hemorrhaging these customers off. So they've got to find some other way to get those customers back, whether it's streaming, low-cost streaming services like, the Comcast one we've talked about. The chat room over there is mentioning PS View. That one came out while I was looking too. I just don't need the channels for that. There's a certain value that comes along with some of these packages, and if you don't watch a lot of sports, if you only need the local teams and that kind of thing, I mean, it really doesn't make sense to purchase them. So.
Man, and I think that's one of the hard parts for consumers. I think, the average family who's busy and a lot of, if you think about it, a lot of times when you're shopping for cable or internet or any of those sort of things, you're maybe in the middle of a move or something where you're buying a new house or renting a new apartment. You've got a million things going on, and you kind of just want to have TV set up when you get there, right? And so you as much as we all may love to hate companies like Comcast and whoever it is, Time Warner, DirecTV, whoever you're going with, at least it's a known quantity, and you kind of know what you're getting in terms of channel selection and what you can expect, not only for yourself but maybe for other members of the household who, of course, may find that kind of important, what they have available to them. And so I think that, it's we're still so early in this that all of these offerings are structured so differently, and the price points are different, and even the hardware requirements can be different. And so it's just more work, frankly, to figure that out if you want to use any sort of these services in your home. And I do think that for a lot of average consumers, that can be a point of too much resistance, and they'll just kind of go with what they've always known. Right.
Yep. I'd agree. It's only. I mean, I've been living in my house for 2 years, and it's pretty much on the 2-year mark of when that introductory rate ran out, and all of a sudden the cable bill doubles. It's one of those like, hey, this doesn't make any sense at all. And what value am I getting out of something that we watch 3 different TV shows on every week and turn off the TV, and the rest we do streaming movies on Netflix or whatever. So it was a pretty easy decision for us after we ran the numbers and figured out what our actual consumption was. But yeah, I do agree that most people say, "Oh, I'm moving into a house. I need to have cable hooked up. Let me just get them out here.
Just get it done.
Yep, get it done.
Yeah, exactly. All right, Seth. Well, that's probably a good point to wrap up this week's show. Had a lot of fun recording this with you. I want to thank everybody who joined us over there in the chat room, and once again, thank all of our patrons, supporters of the show. We really appreciate it. If you're listening and you're curious about how you can become a supporter, and of course, part of that is joining us not only in the chat room on the nights that we record, but we've got the Hub, our private Slack channel that's going. About 24/7 at this point. A lot of really good dialogue and activity going on in there. And even if you want to come on our Patreon page at the $1 a month level, that gets you access to that private chat room, which is a whole lot of fun. So once again, just plug that one last time, HomeTech.fm/support if you're interested in learning more about that.
Absolutely. And thank you very much for everyone who did the 2 and 3 supporters who joined up this week. Thank you very much. We do appreciate it. Jason, with that, I guess I will talk to you next week.
All right. Sounds good. Take care, Seth.